Oh, I'm so sorry. I was talking on mute. I will go for it again. Good evening. So what I was talking about was that we have just come back with the detailed analysis of slot 3. Now you guys can hear me, right? I hope. Just give me a yes if you can hear me, one of you. Am I audible? Yes, we nailed it, buddy. Thank you. Okay, so I was talking about how we have been coming up with sessions all day. This is the sixth session that we are conducting, and we are coming up with two sessions after every slot. The first one happens to be the first impression, which is that impression of the slot immediately after the slot gets over, and then another one an hour down, like this one, which is a detailed analysis of the session, where you come to know about how the entire session was. So there's one more interesting session left, which will happen at 9:30 live, and that is where GP, Gejo, myself, Shivku, a lot of us will come together. Ravi Teja, maybe, right? All of us will come together and talk about how the entire day went. How do you compare slots? How do you compare CAT 23 session with the previous one last year, and so on and so forth. So this is what we are doing, guys. Let's get into the slot 3 analysis immediately, right? Okay, just give me one sec. Yeah. So how did it go? So we've just come out with this a while back. Same 66 questions, 24, 20, 22. Nothing unexpected as compared to the slot 1 and 2, largely. One or two small things were unexpected, and I'll come to that. Right? Four passages of four questions, so four RCs there. Verbal ability had 8 questions, two para jumbles, two para summary, two para completion, and two odd one outs. Okay, four theta questions, two para jumbles, and the two odd one out questions were the theta questions, non MCQ. Right, largely this section was easy to moderate, and we'll go into the detail of it with a number of doable questions around 14 to 15. DILR was exactly like it was expected, where you could do two sets quite easily, and the other two were very difficult to crack. Right. So that's how we put it under moderate to difficult category. Right. Easily you could do 7, 8, 9 questions were doable. Right. Coming to quant, this year's highlight is that quant was more difficult. DI was so expected to be as difficult as it was, but quant was quite difficult, right? So a lot of students would agree with me on that. Do you agree with me on this? Do you agree with me on this? कोई बात नहीं. GP and GTO will come in the 9:30 session also, right? Don't worry about that. Okay, so algebra, arithmetic, geometry, and number systems. This was the breakdown. I've already covered this. So now let's get into the details. So four beautiful topics. Romantic aesthetic, which was a philosophy-based abstract topic, right? Romantic aesthetic के ऊपर था मुझे when I started off. When I understood that we're talking about something romantic, it seemed that it would be interesting, but it was boring and a difficult read, no doubt. Okay, it was not an easy read. So it was a difficult to comprehend sort of a set, 400 to 450 words. But the questions were doable. So easily, first of all, at least 3 and 4 of the out of the 4 RCs could have been done. 2 were very easy. Which were the 2 easy ones? You can also type it down in the chat. I found the 2 easy ones to be, and this was my slot, right? I've written this test. So cultural property, exploration of sites, wala was a very easy. I think it was the easiest set of all, easiest read. It was an easy read. Climate change ke baare mein, the next one that is talking about climate change, environmental degradation, Nutmeg's Curse नाम की एक बुक से लिया गया है. So it was about Nutmeg's Curse rather, and this was also, I would put it as easy to moderate, more than moderate, because ये दोनों set मिला के you could do 8 to 9 questions, 7 to 8 questions easily, right? So one odd question I would put it as difficult, right? So that's how it is. Now coming to rational thinking, again I tried hard about rational thinking, but rational thinking also was difficult. So now I had to choose because of the time whether I should go for the romantic aesthetic or the rational thinking wala set, and I did go with the rational thinking set because it was somewhere between moderate or moderate difficult, right? So I slightly differ from the PPT here in my personal opinion as a faculty, right? I find cultural property and nutmeg curves to be the easy ones, easy to moderate ones. I find the rational thinking to be moderate to difficult, and the romantic aesthetic wala was difficult. Okay, the questions also were not very easy as far as the rational thinking passage was concerned. So two were moderate to difficult questions, right? So that made this set a little difficult. Okay, so that's about verbal. No surprises again. In fact, this was about RC. Now let's come to verbal. Verbal section I found very interesting because I was able to do a lot of questions. I feel there were a lot of questions which were doable, right? However, students might put it in difficult segment just because of the theta. Acha, very. Let me put one point across, which I feel very strongly about. A lot of students in the first slot definitely were not expecting out of context questions because 2022 में वो नहीं था. It wasn't there, right? So if, since it wasn't there, we were not expecting it, but it came, and it was also a theta question which looked like a parajumble question. So those students who did not read the question, the instructions, ended up leaving or doing it wrong because they solved it as a parajumble, whereas they were supposed to write one option which was out of context, which was out of place, right? So a lot of students, even in this section, I'm sure if they did not read the instruction, would have got this wrong. मैंने पहले क्या किया, I'll tell you. For me, before the parajumble questions were the out of context questions. So when the out of context questions came in, odd one out, right? I solved them like a parajumble. Then I saw the third question, which was parajumble, and I was like, एक minute, दो parajumble के तो दो ही question थे. So I went back to check the instructions and I redid those questions. So this is something that people might have gotten wrong. Okay, but having said that, I think बहुत ज़्यादा difficult questions नहीं थे मेरे हिसाब से, right? So I would put a lot of questions under the moderate category. I would rather put 5 questions in the moderate category and 2 or 3 questions in the difficult category. So it was a doable test. Especially I love it because जब भी you have a theta question in verbal, you are supposed to do it, right? तो थोड़ा सा पढ़ के कर लो, don't waste time on it, but do something, don't leave it blank so that you don't get negative marking. That's the way it is to be done, right? Okay, so this was about verbal. Now let's get on to DILR. DILR में, so there were 4 sets as expected. Now this is an interesting one. So girls boys वाला एक caselet था LR का, right? So this caselet had to do a lot about, it was a male female students with maximum minimum scores and so on, right? I think this was a moderate to difficult one. I did not do it. I let it go. I moved on to the next one, padke, right? Then I went to the second one. For me, the second one was the route based diagram. वो police station वाला. There were police station routes and कौन सा police station was visited the most. I looked at that and I went to the third one. The third one was about the coaching class, online, offline coaching class wala, right? And that was a surprisingly easy one. So then I finished that easy one. That was, I think, for me, it was the easiest. I found first. Okay. And then I went to the fourth set, which was the window and split AC wala, which was an absolute nightmare. How, I don't know, you can write it down in this chat if any of you saw the window AC split AC wo wala, but it was a bad one. Okay, having said that, then I came back to the roots wala diagram, and it turns out that the roots wala question was easier than the coaching class ka online offline wala, mean median max mode wala, right? Mean max and median wala. So I found that the roots diagram, if someone would have tried, if you would have got the logic once, all the questions would have fallen in place one by one. So I believe even if everyone could have done the option, the third and the fourth set, as you can see in the diagram. Okay, these were the two doable ones. रूट वाला में यार थोड़े पॉसिबिलिटीज थे दैट यू हैड टू वर्क आउट ऑन आई थिंक इट वाज टू डू विद द वन वेयर द थर्ड D3 वाला जो था राइट सो दैट वाज द वन दैट नीडेड टू बी वर्कड आउट right but yeah it was not difficult definitely the questions fell very easy can you see the questions there are 5 doable questions if someone would have got that set right all 5 questions would have been correct and the last one also 4 questions could have been correct. Acha, I personally, after doing these two sets, I had 5 minutes remaining, and I tried to go back to the window wala and all that. But then एक भी question अकेले में by itself निकल के नहीं आया. Like we say ना sometimes that don't solve the set, solve the question. राइट वो सॉल्व द क्वेश्चन वाला जो फंडा था नॉट द होल सेट वो नहीं हो पाया इन द फर्स्ट टू सेट्स सो आई थिंक दीज 10 क्वेश्चंस आउट ऑफ 20 वर एब्सोल्यूट डूएबल तो मैंने यहाँ पे 8 to 10 इसलिए लिखा है बिकॉज देयर इज ऑलवेज अ चांस दैट 1 or 2 यू कुडंट गेट ओके सो 8 to 10 क्वेश्चंस डूएबल थे okay so this is how I believe this third set should have been answered now yes a lot of you that's possible like Madara says hey look at this got stuck in the AC wala set I am sure those of you who got stuck with AC ya wo girls boys wala set would have wasted a lot of time that is possible okay. Yes, Vallabha, you too. Exactly. So, okay, great. GP has been able to join me. By the way, GP is traveling. He is on the way. So let's see if I can get him on the stage. Hi, GP. Can you hear me? Am I
Yes,
audible?
yes, Adil, I can hear you. And I'm sorry, I'm still on the highway. So
Yes.
थोड़ा सा struggle है, but ठीक है. Let's. So what I'll do is, there are specific questions you want to ask, I can answer them because my drive
So,
कर रहा हूँ, so
GP,
I obviously cannot look at the screen.
yeah. So I was just about to close the DI section detailed analysis. Mein. So I would want your word on before I go to quant.
Okay. DI, देखो, I would say similar to last year in terms of overall level of difficulty. Last year also 2 sets were doable. Going to the third was a challenge, and 4 sets were virtually ruled out. The same thing would be here, इसके अंदर, and इसके अंदर in this paper, I hope people have picked up the network set, the 6 police stations, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then patrolling on those things. And that I felt was the easiest set in this paper. And the other set which was easy was that online offline coaching wala. उसमें आसान था काफी. So these 2 sets were definitely the ones which I think people should have done. अगर वो AC वाला उठा लिया, विंडो AC, स्प्लिट AC वाला, इन्वर्टर नॉन इन्वर्टर, हो जाएगा, लेकिन it will take you 20 to 25 minutes possibly. I don't think it does it was I did not do it fully, but once I started doing it, मेरे को लगा कि बहुत टाइम लगेगा कि and entire data, if you look at it, numbers were hardly there. It was only ratios which were given. So which is what would have made it a little more difficult to handle. Okay, and the
Great.
other set which was there, those 6 stones, 3 girls and 3 boys, उसमें भी 5 में से 1-2 सवाल हो जाएंगे.
Right.
So 12, maybe 13 questions optimistically. But something like 8 to 10 questions, what I think was a good attempt for this paper. 2 sets with the maybe one odd question leaving or wrong. That is what would have been a good attempt in this paper.
Right. Great. So roots वाला question तो बिल्कुल छोड़ने लायक नहीं था. I think 5 questions
Yes,
doable
Adil.
के
That's
साथ.
from my side as far as DILR is concerned.
Great, cool. So let's move on to quant now. And as you can see, quant may be so third slot mein, you should have expected that it was a tougher one because subah se we've been hearing this that 9 to 10 attempts is a very good attempt. In case or 9 to 10 net corrects, तो आपका 99 percentile ले जाएगा, something of that sort. So we've been saying this since morning. I said it, GP said it, Ravi said it, all of us have said it, and I think it is the same thing that we would want to repeat in this one. It was tough. I have told you this before. It was tougher than last year, quant section in general. GP, what is your take on this? Quant.
Okay, okay. I would say this is the first year in so many years that the mantle of the most difficult section has shifted from DILR and it has gone to quant. So if you look at
Right.
this paper, obviously the सबसे मुश्किल section quant ही था. And algebra के भी सवाल देखोगे, out of those 7 odd questions, maybe doing 2 or 3 was a good attempt. जुगाड़ लगता था. Obviously, the way you need to apply जुगाड़ is a function of how comfortable are you with the concept. But जुगाड़ से 2-3 सवाल मेरे हुए थे algebra के. Similarly, if you look at quant, even in quant, out of those, I think 8 or 9 questions,
Okay. I think there's a network thing with GP. GP, are you still speaking? Okay. So, all right. So that's about, we are talking about quant right now, right? So number system questions were more or less easy. At least one or two out of the four
something like
were
5 were
actually.
the doable questions.
Yes, GP. GP, we are not able to hear you, so I will take it forward right now. Okay, so number systems was doable. Interestingly, ज्योमेट्री से जिसको डर लगता है ना, उसमें एक क्वेश्चन तो बिल्कुल डुएबल था. So the other two were not exactly. Arithmetic largely. अच्छा, कम से कम 5-6 क्वेश्चन ऐसे थे जो जुगाड़ से मैंने निकाले. 5 to 6 questions at least were जुगाड़ questions. However, उसमें से आपको 3-4 मिल गए तो अच्छी बात है, और 1-2 क्वेश्चन कर दिए. सो सम ऑफ यू आर सेइंग कि सर मैं 4 ही कर पाया, 5 ही कर पाया. 4-5 पे तो डेफिनेटली 85 परसेंटाइल पे पहुंच जाओगे, right? So that I'm expecting I'll come to the percentile prediction also, or rather percentile estimation, not prediction, right? So this is how it was for quant. So quant was largely difficult, I agree with that. And let's go forward. Okay, so now let's look at the overall picture, right? What would be the cutoff, and what's a comparison with CAT 22 and 21? So look at this. CAT 21 mein verbal was a 45, and ideal score for CAT 22 was 39. This time also we are expecting somewhere between 38 to 40 for VARC, right? Which translates to 14 to 15 questions. So if you have net corrects of 14 to 15 to 16, you are definitely doing good in this CAT. Okay. Similarly, and this slot specifically, slot 3. ओके, ये सौरभ विश्वास पूछ रहा है सेमी सर्कल का क्या हुआ. यू नो व्हाट हैपेंड गाइस, बाय मिस्टेक आई did not read it as a semicircle. I read it as a circle. I think GP got this right, but I think Gejo and I both have got not read the question properly, and we solved it as if it is a circle, rectangle embedded in a circle, right? So yeah, we also make these mistakes sometimes. So okay, coming to DILR, we can see that it was a moderate to difficult section. Again, 21 में the ideal score for CAT 22. When you say ideal score, it is 99 percentile, right? Similar for CAT 22 would be 29. This time it would be 2 marks lesser. I'm so sorry, where did it go? 2 marks lesser, which means instead of 29 last year, it would be 27 to 28 this year, right? Slightly. Quant, on the other hand, you will see some difference here, right? 33, 34 has been the cutoff, or rather ideal score for in the previous 2 years, 21 and 22. But in 2023, slot 3, it would be somewhere around 27, 28. That's just 9 to 10 questions net correct. You would get a 99 percentile. And Ravi Teja is here. Hi, Ravi.
Hi, Sazeal.
So from
Sazeal,
what
one
you,
thing.
yes,
Yeah, Sazeal,
yes,
just one thing with respect to quant. अगर 99 percentile 25-26 पे आ जाएगा तो none of us will be surprised.
हाँ, कम भी हो सकता है. Yes, right.
Yeah, I guess across the 3 slots, it has been the case, Sazeal. Ki everyone I have spoken to has said कि boss, I will not be, मैं हैरान नहीं रहूंगा अगर क्वांट का 99 DILR के 99 से 1 मार्क कम जाए.
Right.
रवि पक्का होगा, हैरान की बात नहीं है. I'll be surprised if it is the other way around. I would feel that the quant 99 percentile this year is likely to be lower than the quant 99 percentile for verbal. Oh, sorry, DILR.
Right.
You're right. Right. सो इस बार कौन डिफिकल्ट है हम लोग सब अग्री कर रहे हैं उस पे दैट्स व्हाट वी आर डूइंग राइट नाउ ठीक है नाउ लेट्स गो ऑन टू अ स्ट्रक्चर कंपैरिजन ऑफ स्लॉट 3 to slot 2 and slot 1 so Ravi since you have done the slot 1 and you've taken the analysis for slot 2 please throw some light on this and take it forward please.
So basically, Sazil, I think what they have been able to achieve, this is not actually by looking at the questions in the other slots, but actually by listening to the other mentors, other friends of mine who have, other students of mine who have taken slot 2 and slot 3, and comparing my experience in slot 1 with them. What I feel is what CAT has been able to achieve notoriously is probably they have reached a level of standardizing the kind of papers that were there in across the three slots,
Across slots,
across the three
yeah.
sections. I mean, VRC, what I felt is almost the same what GP felt. It is almost the same what Shipku felt after GP and you felt after slot 3, and it is almost the same as Shipku felt in slot 2. So होगा, बहुत ज्यादा होगा तो 39 40 40 41 का फर्क होगा, 19 20 के फर्क की तरह
Right.
in VRC. When it comes to DILR, in each of the set, each of the slots, we agree that there are about 2 sets which could have been done, and about 2 sets which were not probably there for up for grabs. While the
Ravi, one
only
question.
that I felt in slot 1 was
एक क्वेश्चन में डिफरेंस है सॉरी एक क्वेश्चन मुझे पूछना है आपसे लास्ट ईयर वी आई वाज एबल टू से दैट दिस इज वन डूएबल इजी सेट दिस इज वन डिफिकल्ट नॉट डूएबल सेट एंड देयर वर टू इन बिटवीन वेयर टू फिगर आउट दिस ईयर वो थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट था ना कि दो
this
सेट
year,
इजीली पिकेबल थे
yes, so easily doable be Sazil, you would not realize that easily doable ka see, it was not complex in terms of getting the logic out, but
या
to solve those 2 sets also you would at the end take 30 minutes taken together. Matlab, you have spent about 4 or 5 minutes in going through the sets probably and spent about 30 minutes in solving those. मतलब 2 सेट्स 10 क्वेश्चन से ज्यादा करने का स्कोप आई डोंट थिंक किसी भी स्लॉट में था. किसी स्लॉट में था तो शायद स्लॉट 1 में एक क्वेश्चन एक्स्ट्रा करने का स्लॉट था with the possibility of making a couple of mistakes.
करेक्ट राइट
Right.
यू वर
So
सेइंग
DIR
समथिंग
was also more or less standardized, but I felt from listening to people of slot 2 and slot 3, what I felt is थोड़ा सा हो सकता है कि slot 1 हल्का सा easy आ गया हो, DILR हल्का सा एक आध क्वेश्चन, बट आप ये याद रखिए slot 1 वाले हम लोग सुबह 5 बजे उठ के गए थे सर, ठीक है. तो वो easy भी non easy हो जाता है, तो ये and
एंड
quant across the 3 slots I got the same
नहीं
feedback.
रवि एक और चीज है रवि
Yeah.
Yes, Jitu.
Ravi, there's one more disadvantage of slot 1. We were better prepared for the paper as compared to you. Because हमें मालूम था कि अलजेब्रा बर्बाद आएगा तो अलजेब्रा की ज्यादा टेंशन मत लेना, अरिथमेटिक के तक जाओ. तो हम लोग टिक टिक करके आगे चलते गए एंड क्वेश्चन जब अरिथमेटिक आया तो काम चालू कर दिया. अलजेब्रा वाले सवाल में देखा जुगाड़ लगता है, अच्छा 2-3 सवाल में लगता है वो लगाया और बाकी की टेंशन नहीं ली. ठीक है, so you had the surprise or the shock factor and we were prepared. So that also makes a difference.
But GP, ये again comes down to the same thing that we've been always saying, Ravi, that जो बच्चा without getting emotional आगे बढ़ पाता है ना, right, without getting emotional in the sense कि मेरे को नहीं हो रहा है, quant में stuck हो रहा हूँ, मेरे से 4 क्वेश्चन नहीं हुए, 6 क्वेश्चन नहीं हुए, अगर वो इमोशन को साइड पे रख के if you could move on, they would crack it.
Correct. I think
देखो वो तो हमेशा से होता है irrespective of which paper we talk about. क्योंकि जहां पे तुमने दिल पे ले लिया, इमोशनली इन्वॉल्व हो गए, प्यार में फंस गए, जिंदगी तो बर्बाद हो ही जाएगी.
राइट. एंड क्वांट का भी वही सीन है सजील के तीनों स्लॉट में कोई भी, मुझे नहीं लगता कोई भी साधारण मनुष्य ये पेपर लिख के बाहर आके खुश हुआ हो कि क्वांट तो मैंने फोड़ दिया भाई. ऐसा मेरे को कोई नहीं दिखा इन द 3 स्लॉट. अगर कोई है सुपर ह्यूमन तो बता दो यार.
रवि फोड़ना रिलेटिव होता है यार.
करेक्ट.
फोड़ना एब्सोल्यूट नहीं होता, रिलेटिव होता है.
फोड़ना रिलेटिव होता है.
पेपर मेरे हिसाब से
फोड़ना तो तब रिलेटिव हो गया जब रिजल्ट आया, बट जब पेपर लिख रहे हैं वो जो कंफर्ट जोन है, वो एक ब्रीथिंग का स्पेस मिलता है, वो जुगाड़ लगाने का जो स्पेस मिलता है ना, वो मुझे मेरे स्लॉट में तो नहीं।
नहीं जुगाड़ मेरे स्लॉट में मेरे को 6-7 सब, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर एग्जैक्टली बट अप्रोक्सीमेटली 6 क्वेश्चन जुगाड़ तो लगा था।
आप से जीपी का जुगाड़ जीपी बहुत आराम से लगा लेंगे। मैं हम लोग का सही है थोड़ा सा ना, हम 3-4 ही लगा।
तुम्हारा पेपर देखता हूँ मैं, देखो तुम्हारा पेपर देखता हूँ, बट उसमें भी जहाँ जुगाड़ लगा ना वहाँ पे चॉइस थोड़ा सा तकलीफदायक ना, ऐसा नहीं कि एकदम।
जीपी since we are talking about जुगाड़, डेफिनेटली वो 72,000 73,000 पॉपुलेशन वाला जो था, वो तो 2 ऑप्शन वर्कआउट करने से आंसर निकल जाता था।
मिडिल चॉइस इफ आई रिमेम्बर 74 से चालू किया था मैंने, 74 को चेक किया तो 100 प्लस आया, तो 73 को चेक किया 100 पॉइंट समथिंग आया, तो 72 को चेक ही नहीं किया मैंने
72 से शुरू करके 73 पे अटका। आई डिड द ऑपोजिट, बट either way we have to work out 2 options.
That's okay.
So similarly
Either
both
way you have to check
वाला also doable.
बोट वाला तो बहुत अच्छा सवाल था, उसका 2 घंटे से ज्यादा था आंसर यार।
हाँ बस exactly 2 घंटे, more than 2 hours is the answer, correct. So yes, so students, there were some questions which were doable in terms of the jugaad that we keep discussing about, right? And yeah, the 8 MCQ questions were there as expected. So yeah, so now let's talk about percentiles. Ravi, आप शुरू करिए percentiles का.
You know, similar story.
I'll join again at 9:30.
Sorry. Yeah, okay.
Because यहाँ पे मैं अभी भी हाईवे पे हूँ, and मैं फिर 9:30 लॉग इन करता हूँ.
Sure. See you in the 9:30 session, GP.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, when it comes to the percentiles at different levels, to be able to clear the sectional cutoffs, I don't think it was a mountain task in this paper to clear the sectional cutoffs, because paper was comparatively difficult in at least DILR and Quant as compared to last year. That's where we are guessing the sectional cutoff 80th percentile, the sectional cutoff for most colleges to be about only 4 questions net correct, 10 to 11 marks, and similar range of 12 to 14 marks for the 85th percentile, which is the sectional cutoff for IIM Lucknow.
So Ravi, 80 to 85 percentile is more or less the same as last year.
Yes, more or less the same.
Yes,
1 or 2 marks lesser than last year.
1 or 2 marks का फर्क है, but beyond that, that is where the difference comes in, right?
Right, and when it comes to the 90th percentile, 95th percentile, 99th percentile, there is a chance you can see a significant downfall in the scores corresponding to those percentiles as compared to last year. Last year, I remember Quant 99th percentile was about 33 marks, 32, 33 marks. This year, we expect it only about to be 25, 26 marks, 27, 28 at best, right? And when it comes to DILR, last year was about 29 marks. This year, we are expecting it to be 1 question lesser, 26 marks. And in VRC, more or less similar to last year, especially for slot 3 is what we are thinking.
You're right. So, having said that, this brings us to a little bit of fag end of the analysis right now. Guys, score calculator is live. I hope you have checked the possible scores. If you have not, please go ahead and do it. I think the link is in your description. You can check it right away. Score calculator will, when you put in your attempts, kitne MCQs, kitna kya hai, it will give you a estimated score. And that will give you an idea about the estimated percentile the way we are talking about it. You can go back to this video and check कि आपका क्या score आ रहा है, उसपे क्या percentile बन सकता है, right? Going forward, the CAT predictor will come into picture once a lot of you have sort of used the percentile predictor. You will start getting the predictions. The model will kick off, and then the IIM cutoffs. So we have these 3 things that we are going to show you. 9:30 ko session hai. I am reminding you. GP, Gejo, Ravi, myself, maybe Shivku, some other people will join that session, and we would like to talk to you about a comprehensive how the CAT was and how it compared and what is about the percentile and stuff like that. So Ravi, now what does a student do now? CAT khatam ho gaya hai. अब क्या?
अब क्या, आज के लिए
आराम
तो मैं
करना
बोलता
चाहिए।
हूँ कि सो जाओ, रेस्ट
हाँ,
करो, रिलैक्स करो. You've been through a lot today, we understand that, right? There have been a few bouncers in the paper, we absolutely understand that. And you should also tell yourself कि ठीक है यार, मैंने साल भर से मेहनत किया है, 6 महीने से मेहनत किया है, 1-2 दिन का रेस्ट मेरा बनता है, वो
बनता है।
रेस्ट लेके तुरंत फिर then you have to look forward to what else, what next, because if you keep waiting for the response sheet, for the last couple of years the response sheet has been out on 8th of December. तो इस बार भी अगर आप 10-12 दिन उसके लिए इंतजार करोगे और कि हाँ शायद होप में मेरा हो जाएगा, या
अभी
फिर
मुझे
होप,
ऐसा लग रहा है, मुझे ऐसा लग
दैट
रहा है
इज
इस बार इट कुड बी अर्लियर, द रिस्पॉन्स शीट विल कम अर्लियर आई फील।
मे बी कब आएगा उस पे कोई है भी ऐसे लोग ना यार, बताते नहीं एडमिट कार्ड कब आएगा, एडमिट कार्ड कभी 2 हफ्ते पहले आ रहा है, 3 हफ्ते पहले आ रहा है, अचानक 3 दिन पहले मॉक टेस्ट रिलीज कर दे रहा है, अचानक कुछ भी कर दे रहा है, बताता नहीं पेपर में कितना सवाल आएगा, everything they leave it to our
यस।
expectation. So just leave it, छोड़ो, उसके बारे में एक्सपेक्ट करना छोड़ो, you just
व्हाट
do
आई
it.
टेक अवे फ्रॉम व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज रेस्ट करना जरूरी है, पर बाउंस बैक करना भी उससे ज्यादा जरूरी है। ठीक है,
Correct.
कम बैक एंड स्टार्ट वर्किंग।
Couple of days of rest probably, and by the 29th of this month you should be back on your feet preparing for probably snap or zat or whatever exam you are
एंड पीडीपी।
prepared for, as well as pdp, because those of you who have a good feeling after taking this paper कि हाँ बीआरसी में तो मैंने 15 सवाल कर लिए, डीआईएलआर में मैंने 10 तक कर लिए, क्वांट में मैंने 10 तक कर लिए, almost assurity के almost you'll get at least one IM call is what I believe at that kind of a score or that kind of an attempt. So basically उसमें उसके लिए भी अपना जो पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट पे थोड़ा सा फोकस करना आपको स्टार्ट कर देना चाहिए. यू शुड स्टार्ट
तो
वर्किंग ऑन योर
जीडीपीआई का प्रेप, हाँ, यस या।
statements of purpose.
सो
You may
रवि,
always use chat
जस्ट
gpt,
वांट
but
टू,
chat gpt will not probably be able to tell you exactly what you require,
so I
right?
just want to announce something with you here, Ravi, that we are going to come up with some session on PDP and on GK, which is going to be open session for everyone. And hope we'll see you soon. So that's the time to bounce back, and हम उसी हिसाब से प्लान करेंगे, right? But अभी के लिए what next का question answer सुनने के लिए 9:30 को मिलेंगे again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ravi Agarwal, you are asking, I could do only 5 in DILR, but confident that they are correct. Very good. 5 is not a bad attempt in this paper, come what may. Okay. You would have probably cleared the sectional cutoff. Most probably, yes.
Yes. Somewhere between 80-85 percentile maybe,
Yeah.
or maybe more.
Maybe even more.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. All the best. And rest today. 9:30 के सेशन में मिलते हैं. Bye bye. Thank you, Ravi. Bye bye.
Bye bye.